Greetings and salutations. My name is Michael Schwahn and welcome to the channel. We have some more reaction content for you, and today we are checking out the closed beta announcement trailer for Marauders. Now, we've talked in the past about a game called The Cycle Frontier that people were calling Tarkov in space. Marauders is much more along the lines of what I think of when I think of Escape from Tarkov in space. It is a raid instance-based, high-risk survival shooter. And the whole thing takes place in space. You don't drop down onto planets. You're launching yourself in these little ship pods. You go and either raid other people's ships, or you're trying to raid like space stations, get some loot, get out, and get back to your base. And then you have your base with your stash and stuff like that. And I don't. That's the extent of my knowledge. I've not looked too closely at it because it was really, really alpha last time I saw it. They had a closed alpha not too long ago, and I did look at it. I'm like, still looks really light, still looks really rough. That might have been an earlier build, and they've gotten much farther along, but I don't know. But this is a closed beta, so it's not even actually necessarily an early access yet. You can pay for early access in terms of being able to access this closed beta, but let's let the game speak for itself, shall we?
Not yet rated.
That was a really good trailer. Like you know, regardless of the content of it, it's actually a really well cut trailer. Like whoever they got to do that, if it was somebody on their own team, like good job. That was actually a pretty decent ass trailer. The good energy, good presentation. In space, yet using irons. I'm sorry, but it breaks for me. This intense future, yet using tech that was outdated in the 1970s. That's kind of the idea behind like Warhammer 40k. Like just because that they have space travel doesn't necessarily mean they have like infrared sights and stuff like that. And you can advance in one way, but not in another one, right? Like you could figure out space tech, but not necessarily have the like the ability to scan bioorganisms to tell you what their genetic composition is. And in terms of like 40k comparison, they had really advanced tech, and then they lost all knowledge of it after essentially an apocalypse of sort. Like they had been building up this massive achievement, and then it went, oh crap, and then like stuff went wrong, and then knowledge of modern tech was lost. And so sometimes they'll find pieces of modern tech and they have to try and figure out like how it works, because nobody has the knowledge anymore of how it works, right? And I could see, like, we went to space we landed on the moon in 1969, right? And while we haven't, as a human species, put a heavy focus on, like, trying to get farther than that, if that instead had went farther, you could have, like, that people were using iron sights in 1969, you had very rudimentary sights, but a lot of the optics from way back then were unreliable or really fragile and stuff like that, so... Looks like a PS2 FPS. Well, it's a small team. It's a small team and it's early access, so, Now, thing is, it's a very fast-cut trailer. I do want to take a little bit of a closer look at the loot screen, because the looting screen is very similar to, like I mentioned, like this game is going to forever be, regardless of whether it wants to be or not, it will be compared to Escape from Tarkov, because so much of it is genuinely like very close to it in terms of like this menu literally looks like an alpha build of Escape from Tarkov's menu. So, but what do we have here? Active contracts. So these are probably missions. Kill 12 personnel with a particular gun that they don't have. Gather 3 M1 helmets. This person at least doesn't have. Repair the space station frigate fuel system. Okay. I meant it looked like a PS2 game in style, not quality. Oh, okay. That's fair. That's fair. So just wanted to take this in for a moment because like there's a couple things here. We these are things we already knew about: remaining oxygen, your total amount of HP. You just have an HP, and compared to like Tarkov, where you have individual body parts, and then the different parts of your loot system itself. Now, the thing that I am happy to see is this active contract system. One of the problems that I did have looking at Marauders earlier on is that the game seemed incredibly light. Like, it was the foundation was there, right? Of like, cool, we got a few different ships, we got a couple places you can go, we got a few different guns, and that's it. It was kind of in like almost a concept phase, right? Of where you're like, okay, that's cool. What is the overarching goal? Like, what is there an end game? How do I get to it, and what does it look like? And we're starting to see a little bit more of that because Tarkov does have an end game. And like even like the Cycle Frontier, another game we referenced, you can get higher levels with traders, which unlocks new equipment, which unlocks higher end equipment, which gives you essentially an end game in terms of like a higher echelon of tiers of gear and equipment and weapons and modifications and stuff that then can allow you to go on to more dangerous areas and fight stronger monsters. Regardless of whether that's what you're interested in or whether they've done it well is a completely different conversation. But this is where what the question then poses, because these games aren't Call of Duty, right? They're not games where you're just trying to win the round, because that's where the loot and mission aspect comes in. Because sure, you can always want to win the fight or pursue the fight or whatever it is, but at the end of the day, you need loot to get money to have gear to go back in and fight again. And so your mission is to get to accomplish those types of objectives and goals. But as at least personally what I've seen through the Cycle Frontier compared to Escape from Tarkov, those cycles and goals need to feel impactful and meaningful, and if they don't, it can drastically harm the actual lasting impact, life, and quality of the game. Even if the base foundation is strong, it's got to have walls that can actually take you up to somewhere higher than that ground level. And that's one of the things that I'm concerned about looking at Marauders as we're going deeper into it, because at least with the alphas, it was so light. It was very, very light. And I'm like, this will be cool for like 12 hours. But it's not a game that pitches itself of you can play us for 12 hours and then be done. It wants to be a game that asks for more of your time and more of your attention. But that's a harder goal to meet, especially in these high-risk, high-reward style gameplay where you're risking things that you have fought and scraped for to hopefully be able to get and accomplish more. So, I'm curious to see what comes out of this closed beta. It's short. It is a very short closed beta. It's happening right now, and it's only 5 days long. That is a tiny closed beta. And so it makes me wonder what the purpose of the closed beta is, because that means they're trying to test something specific, whether it's like server stability or a particular mechanic or something along those lines. It's not communicated here, and I wouldn't expect them to, because it's probably on like their dev forums or something like that. But that's such a tiny window of time for a closed beta that it's got to be for a targeted, very specific purpose, and I would love to know what it is. If you were to compare it to Star Citizen, how would that be, since it seems kind of the same in certain ways? I mean, I don't have a ton of experience with Star Citizen the way that I do Escape from Tarkov or the Cycle Frontier, and Star Citizen is also its own interesting beast, because for the longest time, it was the $200 million game that didn't exist, right? But we've recently seen a massive resurgence into Star Citizen because one of their more recent updates added a substantial amount of content, including like factions and mission progression and your own personal character progression and skills and stuff. So I don't know what the state of Star Citizen is right now in terms of where it could compare. In terms of overall quality, outside of Star Citizen being pretty heavy with the bugs, I would still say that Star Citizen is at a better point than Marauders is. That said, it is the $200 million game, and they've been working on it for 9 years or some insane amount of time. I forget when the original like Indiegogo campaign for Star Citizen was, but they've been working on that game for an eternity, so I would hope that it is farther along when it has that much money and that significant of a team and that much dev time behind it. So the developers behind Marauders are Small Impact Games. They've done the Black Death. It makes me a little curious how that one was. I don't know. Well, maybe we'll have to check that one out at another time. But to you watching right now, have you played Marauders? Did you play in one of the closed alphas? Did you watch your favorite streamer play it? Because I know a lot of Cycle Frontier and some Call of Duty and some Escape from Tarkov streamers, just basically shooter streamers in general, were checking it out when we had the ability to do so. What are your thoughts on it? And if you're playing in this closed beta, how does this closed beta currently feel? And how are you feeling about the longevity of the game after we get closer to an actual release date? No release date is currently yet known. It could have a long development time available, like ongoing until we hit that point, but they're getting closer if they've moved from calling it alphas to betas, right? We're getting somewhere. Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. If you want to keep up the conversation elsewhere, two great places to do so are Discord and Twitter. Speaking of Discord, we actually have a channel dedicated to these reactions where you can place links of your own that we can check out together live on stream, because we do stream 4 days a week: Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and I would love to see you there. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like. If you want to catch future videos, please subscribe to the channel. But we're going to get out of here, so if you do watch one of the other videos on the channel, or if I see you in the live stream, thank you and enjoy.